Okay, so today we're going to be just taking a look at making a major scale based on the letter components, not anything in sheet music, not on a piano, just the letter chains that go together. So in a major scale, there are 8 notes. Each major scale it can be broken up in half by 4 notes and 4 notes that follow the whole step, half step pattern. And then when we chain those 2 sets of notes together with a whole step, we make a full major scale. Reminder that a whole step is just the sound of happy birthday. So if I went from C to D, which I don't know if that was actually C to D or not, but if I start with my first note and my second note and it sounds like happy birthday, la la, then I go to my next note, la la, and it still sounds like happy birthday. And then I go to my last 2 notes, la la, and it sounds like Jaws. I've made a correct whole step, half step pattern. When I do 2 of these connected by a whole step, I make a full scale. So starting with sharps or adding sharps to our notes to make these patterns, I'm going to show you how you can make a whole step, half step pattern beginning on any note. The E, F half step is already in the correct place naturally, so I don't need to add any sharps or flats. The same goes with G, A, B, C. What about D, E, F, G though? The naturally occurring half step is in the middle of the string. So what I have right now is whole step, half step, whole step. When really I need my whole step to be here and my half step to be here. Not to worry, it's a very simple fix. I already have a whole step in the right spot, D to E. So I don't want to alter D or E because I don't want this to change. So what I would need to do is add a sharp next to my F, and that no longer gets a circle because E to F natural is the circle, not E to F sharp. So E to F sharp becomes a whole step, and F sharp to G already is a half step. So now if I start on the letter D, all I need to do is add 1 sharp to the F to make whole step, half step. So if I go down to the E, F, G, A, what I have is E to F, which is a naturally occurring half step. Then I have F to G, which is a whole step, and G to A. Having whole step, half step, what I'm left with is half step, whole step. Okay, so what I need to do to change this, I added a sharp to F to make E to F fit the pattern of whole step earlier. So that's what I'm going to do now, and I have to remove my circle because E to F sharp is no longer a half step, it is a whole step. Now, F sharp to G becomes a half step, so we don't want that there. So we're going to have to take another sharp and add it to G to make it F sharp to G sharp, which is a whole step, and then G sharp to A becomes a half step. All right, now, what's interesting here is on F, G, A, B, we actually have none of the naturally occurring half steps. These are all whole steps, F to G, G to A to B. If we want to continue with our pattern of adding sharps, we have to add a sharp to the beginning note, which is F, because earlier we had been adding a sharp to F, so we're just going to keep on with that tradition. If we want to start with an F natural, however, this is going to need flats to accomplish the goal of changing the tetrachord. So F sharp to G sharp we already know is a whole step. G sharp to A is a half step, so we need to add a sharp to A to make it a whole step. And then A sharp to B natural is a half step. So if we start on F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp to make our whole step, half step pattern. And since we've gotten to F, we're ready to go over to G. What's really nice about G is we already know that that's in the correct whole step, half step pattern. So C, D, E, F is very similar to G, A, B, C. D, E, F sharp, G, and A, B, C, D are very similar. Here's our B, C half step. And earlier we had our half step in the middle, and all we had to do was add a sharp to the third note. Let's see if applying that logic works for A, B, C, D. So A to B already is a naturally occurring whole step. B to C sharp is a whole step. and C sharp to D is a half step. So these half steps being in the middle of the strain, all I need to do is shift it over one by making the third note sharp. At the beginning of my string, I have the half step. Earlier on was the same thing. So I just add a sharp to my second note, which makes that a whole step, and this is a half step. We don't want the half step in the middle, so we're going to make this a whole step as well. So now I have B to C sharp, whole step, C sharp to D sharp, whole step, and D sharp to E, half step. So there's my B, C, D, E, or B, C sharp, D sharp, E, tetrachord. You're noticing that the first time around, I had to add one sharp each time. Now I've had to add two sharps, now three. Earlier on, we had C, D, E, and F, and we already knew that all of those natural no sharps or flats made a whole step, half step. But if I change the first note of my C major tetrachord to C sharp, I know that since everything was natural here, everything must be sharp here to make that tetrachord. So I either have 7 sharps, 7 flats, or all 7 notes are natural.